Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Heap. I'm a best friend of Brad, as all of you are, and it's so good to be here. I didn't think I would say that on a day like this, but it truly is a good time to celebrate a wonderful man who changed my life and will continue to change it for years to come. I am grateful to be here, and I hope that I can be headstrong. As I was able to coach with Brad for probably about 9 years, and we would tell players, hey, no matter what, you've got to be headstrong. And it was hard sometimes, and so I hope and pray today that I can do that, and I can be headstrong for the people that I love and that he loves. Well, I first noticed Brad, he was of course on the soccer field, and I could hear some coach's voice from a distance in North Logan, and he was coaching Hallie's team. And for whatever reason, his team would play before our team often. Obviously, God has a purpose, he has a reason, and I now know Brad needed to be in my life. And as I was able to observe who he was and what he did and how he did things, I knew that I needed to be a part of that. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a part of that culture because there's not too many, well, at least it seemed, coaches that really understood that. Winning's important, and I love to win, and we love to win, but it's not everything. If you do everything you're supposed to, you're going to win a lot along the way and accomplish great things. And Brad definitely had that vision and understanding. I was also able to coach with Brad at the high school, not this North High School, by the way. I am wearing blue. It's hard, but I am, and it's not for BYU. That's another thing. That's probably one thing. We had a great relationship, but that's one thing we just could not agree on, and no matter what. And it was hard, but we overcame it eventually. We just didn't talk about it. And there was a former club I used to coach with, and he did, and there was a bag that I had, and he said the only good thing that's worth is to put stinky pennies in. So I brought it every practice, and we put the stinky pennies in it, and that's fine. Those of you who know, it's fine. We'll leave it at that. We'll move forward. And through those 9 years of coaching, we were able to have a great team and a great culture, and to be able to establish a dream of being able to progress and establish and have friendships and sacrifice and learn all the things that we would hope players would learn. And along the way, we won a lot of games. And there's a lot of medals out there that prove that. But there's a lot of people here today that prove that even more. And those dreams will continue to be matched and continue to move forward. Brad would always have a great way of making me feel number one as we would come to, I tried to be involved in everything, and then life got a little busy, but he found a way to be able to continue to manage 3 teams or to coach 3 teams and bring in baseball. And I'm like, you're crazy. If you bring in baseball, you're never going to see anybody. And he did. And then as we continued to coach more and more girls, like, Brad, we got to cut players. We have way too many people, way too many players for one team. Well, we'll add another team. Like, that's not okay. And we did. I'm like, what about your wife? And he's like, she'll be fine. Well, okay, that's your business. And she is, and she's wonderful, and the family's fine. So he was able to figure that out. But everything came as rooted in the gospel. Every player had a purpose, and every player meant something. It wasn't casual. Every person meant something. But as I would come, he would greet me, and he would say, hey, beautiful. I'm like, hi. Or he would say, hey, good looking. I'm like, okay, Brad, I get it. And then he would sometimes say a word that starts with N, S, ends in exy. So, sorry, I got to keep it a little cleaner, Breck. You shut your mouth. You have it clean. So, and I enjoyed that. And so I did look forward to being able to see and be there. But he was a man of God, and to the point that by that example, every game that we went to was started by prayer. Didn't matter if you really believed in God or not. If you came to this church, if you went to another church, here's who we are, and this is what we believe, and we're going to live by it. And it was respected. That necessarily wasn't agreed upon, but it was respected, and that's what I loved about Brad. And it's okay to pray to win, by the way. It doesn't always happen, but it's okay to pray to win. Our former president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Russell M. Nelson, said in General Conference, when the focus of our lives is on God's plan of salvation and Jesus Christ and his gospel, we can feel joy regardless of what is happening or not happening in our lives. Does God give us things we can't handle? And I know as family right now and friends, we say, well, we've heard it. No, God doesn't give us anything we can't handle. I don't know if I agree with that. And yeah, a lot of you are going to be, you're crazy. But there's an element that's so important, and Brad helped me learn this, that there's nothing we can't handle through Christ. Because there's some hard things. And today's hard. And this week's hard. And there's going to be hard days ahead. And that's hard. Unless we have Christ in our life. Unless we have examples of Brad in our life. And this is a moment that none of us wanted. As we hear that, like, hey, it's just a moment. It's just a short period of time. Are you kidding? This last week seemed like it was a long time. Even for me, I found myself out and about, and I needed a moment to fall to my knees and ask, Brad, I need you, because I'm going to be here Saturday, what's today, Friday, and I need you. And I need to remember the things that are important. And I felt that. And what an awesome experience that was for me, to be able to have that moment. And yeah, it will be a moment, and there'll be long moments ahead. But as we remember all the moments, and I think this is where the impact comes into play for each and every one of us, yeah, we'll get through this. But what's really, really important, and what I know Brad would want to happen, is let us also remember all the moments and speak of them often with each other and use them to keep Brad in our lives, in our homes, on our team, in church, and in our neighborhoods, whatever that may be. But as we speak of them often, to be able to have that and to continue his legacy. What a legacy he has. Yes, there's family, there's sports, there's everything, but as a man of God and a son of God, a legacy that he will carry on and has developed. He wasn't afraid to do the little things and to be humble. He kept me humble. And as we coached, I thought it would be a good idea to do a ref. I wanted to become a ref because I yelled at a lot of refs. So I'm like, I'm going to fix this, and I'm going to try to change my ways. The only thing it did was I didn't yell at young kid refs anymore, but I definitely yelled at adult refs more. I think I was a lot more critical. And Brad told me, and he was good, he says, you know, you got to stay humble. And I'm like, says you. And he's the one that would tend to yell occasionally, but he always knew the line. I didn't know the line, and I would get ejected occasionally. And in those moments, but they deserved it. The refs deserved it, for the record. And in those moments, he would say, you know, you've done this, now you have to apologize. And I'm like, no, I don't have to go do this. And before we would leave, and there was a game in Orem, and it's again that place where that blue school is what the problem is. And people, and I would get anxious for whatever reason when I go there. My anxiety goes higher, and so I take that out on somebody. And I remember that well. And he told me, hey, now that you've been ejected, you need to make things correct. And we're not going to leave until you do. And I'm like, well, we're going to be here a while. And I did. I went and found the guy, and he says, don't approach me, sir. And I'm like, it's okay. I can approach you. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just here to apologize. And it took him by surprise. And as a ref, you're supposed to report everything. And then I'm not supposed to coach the next game. Well, that ref never reported anything. So I guess, Brad, you're right. Again, thanks for helping me learn what to do. And I went and apologized. So now I can get angry at refs and just apologize, and everything's fine. He has that legacy and of helping us stay humble and be a part of that. Have that pressure, focus under pressure, and do what is right. Never waver from what the truth is. There's purpose over performance. You know, yes, we like to win, and it's not the most important thing. There's a purpose behind it all. There's a purpose of why we're here. There's a purpose in everything we do. Whether that's losing 8-1 when Brad decides not to come to a game and he leaves it in Daniel's and mine hands, and I have to call him and say, hey, things went well today. And he's like, no, it hasn't. I've texted 5 people, and they've told me otherwise. What'd you do? Like, I did my best. I'm sorry. And thankfully, Daniel picked me up and helped me feel a lot better. But there's purpose over performance. Character drives culture. The most talented person is important, but the culture is what Brad cared about the very most and helped me to understand that and realize that and to live my life in such a way. And building a legacy is a collective effort. There's a lot of people here today, and I know there's a lot more that know Brad and love him for who he is and who he stands for and what he's created. And it's my hope and prayer today that as we are able to have those moments and reflect on those moments and cherish them, that we may be able to know that Brad was a favorite. Does God have favorites? We'd say no. But for me, a favorite is a man or a person who is in favor of God. And Brad was definitely one of those individuals as a son of God who has general favor. And we learn that in Nephi, in the Book of Mormon, as Nephi comes about, he's highly favored of God. And we know and learn anyone favored in God esteemeth all flesh. One that he is righteous is favored in God. I believe Brad was one of the most righteous persons of integrity, of love, of charity, humility, and diligence. He had an eye single to the glory of God, who qualifies him for the work, and his work has just begun. Our legacy and his legacy is strong, and I hope and pray that as we do that, that we can and experience God's amazing grace. Because I truly believe that one of his most favorite things to do, and that's God's favorite things, is to be merciful. He loves us. Just as Brad loves each and one of you, as we carry that legacy, I hope we can cherish our memories, speak of our moments in Brad's honor, and continue to carry on and build his legacy. I love Brad. I love your family. I love each of you. I'm grateful. Thank you for being here today in his honor. May we carry that and continue his legacy now and far into the future. With that in mind, I testify and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.